Your memories are not in your basement. They are not in the attic or inside that closet you have been afraid to open for the last 5 years. You think they are. You have spent a lifetime collecting things, carefully curating them, believing you were preserving your life. But I am here, from the other side of 80, to tell you a difficult truth. Your final, most important job on this earth is to let it all go. In Japan, they understand something we in the West have long forgotten. This isn't about having a minimalist, empty house that looks like a magazine cover. It's about a single, powerful rule that separates what is alive from what is dead inside your own home. And ignoring this one rule is the precise reason so many of us are living in beautiful, expensive tombs, spending our final years serving a master who is no longer here. The past. It's a slow, quiet poison that we mistake for comfort until there is no time left to find the antidote. I have a set of rosewood chisels, German steel, from 1967. I bought them with my second paycheck from the shipyard. The weight of them in my hand felt like a promise. It felt like capability. I could build anything. Shelves for my wife, Gloria. A cradle for my firstborn. A toy box. For decades, those tools were an extension of my will. Now, I pick one up and my knuckles ache. The arthritis in my fingers turns the perfectly balanced handle into a clumsy, foreign object. I can't hold it steady enough to sharpen the blade, let alone carve a straight line. The steel is still perfect. The wood is still rich. But the man who knew how to use them is a ghost. The tools are no longer tools. They are 10 pounds of solid, undiluted regret I keep on a shelf. They are not preserving a memory of my strength. They are a constant physical reminder of the strength I have lost. And they are stealing space from the life I am trying to live today. And this is where we get it all wrong. We think we are honoring our younger selves by keeping these artifacts. We turn our homes into museums dedicated to a person who no longer exists. A person who could wear those clothes, who could use that equipment, who needed those documents. We become unpaid, exhausted curators of our own history, dusting off relics instead of making new memories. So listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to tell you might save you a decade of the quiet, soul-crushing frustration I had to learn on my own. I am telling you this now so that perhaps you don't have to be as stupid as I was for so long. The things you are clinging to are not your identity. They are anchors, and the ship is going down. You need to learn to start cutting the ropes. Now, I had a friend, Frank, a brilliant mechanic back in his day, the kind of man whose hands were permanently stained with the honest grease of hard work. His garage wasn't just a building, it was his kingdom. The air hummed with the ghosts of roaring engines and smelled of gasoline and potential. On the wall, right above the workbench, was a faded photograph from 1985. In it, Frank is beaming, a proud arm around a half-finished Ford Mustang, a fiery red shell of gleaming potential. It was a project for his son, Mark. They were going to restore it together, a rite of passage forged in steel and horsepower. It was more than a car. It was a promise, a future memory they were building before it had even happened. That garage held the blueprints for a perfect father-son story, a testament to what a man could build with his own two hands for the people he loved. But life, as it often does, had other plans. 30 years slipped by like oil through your fingers. Frank retired. His health began to decline. A slow, cruel thief. The joints in his hands, once so nimble and strong, swelled with arthritis. He couldn't spend hours under the car anymore. The weight of a simple wrench became a challenge. The garage, once his sanctuary of creation, transformed into a silent theater of his own limitations. The smell of potential was replaced by something else entirely. The damp, metallic scent of old oil and slowly rusting metal. It was the smell of regret. The dust wasn't just dust. It was a physical layer of time, a gray film covering a dream that had been left to die quietly in the corner of his kingdom, mocking him with its silent, unfinished presence. In his last decade, Frank developed a ritual. Most afternoons, he would walk out to the garage, open the heavy side door, and just stand there in the doorway, framed by the light. He wouldn't work. He couldn't. Instead, he would perform a kind of sad, silent maintenance. He'd move a set of spark plugs from one shelf to another, as if looking for a purpose they no longer had. He'd run his hand over the dusty hood of the Mustang, leaving a clean streak in the grime. He'd dust the dashboard with the sleeve of his old flannel shirt. He was like a ghost, haunting the scene of his own life, a life where his body had betrayed his intentions. The car was no longer a project. It had become his warden, and the garage his beautiful, self-imposed prison cell, filled with the evidence of a promise he could no longer keep. When Frank passed, his son Mark, now a man in his 50s, with a family of his own, had to face the inevitable. He had to clear out the garage. He called me one afternoon, his voice quiet and heavy over the phone, the kind of quiet that's full of things left unsaid. He described the monumental task ahead of him, not just of sorting tools and selling parts, but of dismantling his father's entire world, piece by painful piece. One sweltering August day, while sorting through a rusted file cabinet tucked under the workbench, he found them. A stack of small, spiral-bound notebooks, his father's journals, dating back 10 years. He sat on an overturned bucket, the air thick with the smell of dust and decay, and he began to read, expecting to find notes about carburetors or wiring diagrams. Instead, he found something that broke him. On nearly every other page, for the last 10 years of his father's life, was a variation of the same desperate sentence: need to clean the garage. Mark told me, his voice cracking, He didn't live his last decade. He spent it managing the evidence of his unfulfilled intentions. He spent more time worrying about that hunk of metal than he ever spent with me or the grandkids. That car wasn't a project that bonded a father and son. It was the wall that stood between them. In the end, Mark had to hire a crew to haul it away for scrap. The Ford Mustang, the great symbol of a future promise, wasn't a project anymore. It wasn't even a car. It was a headstone, marking the grave of a life Frank was too burdened to live. Frank's story is not just about a car. It's about every spare bedroom filled with furniture nobody sits on. It's about every closet packed with clothes for a body you no longer have. It's about every box of someone else's memories you've appointed yourself to guard. You think you are protecting these things, but you are not. You are living with ghosts. That empty armchair in the corner isn't just an armchair. It's the ghost of your late husband, silently demanding that the space remains unchanged. Those tools in the garage are the ghost of your younger, stronger self, mocking your aching joints. Each object is a phantom that occupies not just physical space, but mental space. Every time you walk past it, it whispers a question. What are you going to do with me? It's a constant, draining negotiation with the past. Your home has ceased to be a shelter for the living. It has become a crowded dormitory for spirits who pay no rent and offer no comfort. And so we become terrified of empty space. We see an empty shelf and feel a strange compulsion to fill it. We see a clear floor and think something is missing. This is the lie of the museum mindset. The truth is that empty space is not a void. It is potential. It is the most valuable resource you have in this final precious act of your life. That empty corner is where you can put a comfortable chair for reading today. That cleared out spare room is where your granddaughter can lay out her puzzles when she visits today. It is oxygen for your mind. You are not the sum of what you have collected. You are not your degrees, your trophies, or your wedding china. You are the love you give and the peace you cultivate right now. To find that peace, you must give your mind room to breathe. And that room is not found by adding more, but by bravely, brutally taking away what is already dead. The goal is not to die with the most things, but to live with the most life. So here is the work. Here is the unvarnished, unsentimental truth that will set you free. It boils down to a single, brutal question you must ask of every single object in your home, from the dusty snow globe to the wedding dress yellowing in a box. You pick it up, you feel its weight, and you ask, what is your job in my life today? Not yesterday, not for a fantasy someday, today. What active, useful role are you playing right now? If its only job is to sit on a shelf and remind you of a past you can no longer inhabit. Its employment is terminated. You are the CEO of your remaining years, not the unpaid, exhausted curator of a dusty museum. Your home is for living, not for storage. Its purpose is to serve your present, not to embalm your past for a future that will never see it. This is why the entire concept of organizing is a trap. It's a lie we tell ourselves to feel productive. Buying more plastic bins from the store is not progress. It is simply making your clutter look neater. It's arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. You are not a warehouse manager. Your goal should not be to create a better, more efficient system for storing things you do not use, do not need, and that bring you no active joy. The goal is to cull, to liberate, to remove the dead weight entirely. Organizing is just shuffling the ghosts from one room to another. Culling is an exorcism. You don't need a better system for your clutter. You need less clutter. You need fewer decisions to make, less to clean, less to manage. You need empty space. You need oxygen. But what about the sentimental things? The lock of hair from your child's first haircut. The letters from your first love. This is where we must be both gentle and ruthless. For these items that tear at your heart, create a single nostalgia box, a treasure chest. Put them inside, seal it, and write today's date on the outside. Then, write a second date, 1 year from today. Store the box in a closet or the attic. If, in the course of 365 days, you have not once felt a desperate, undeniable need to open that box, to retrieve something from inside it, then the experiment is a success. On that date, 1 year later, you are to donate or dispose of the box. This proves to your fearful heart that your life functions perfectly without these physical anchors. The memory is inside you, not inside the box. You are letting go of the fear of loss, not the love itself. This leads to the most important shift you can make. Stop planning to leave your things to your loved ones in a will. Start gifting your stories to them now. That beautiful heavy crystal vase you got for your wedding in 1972, the one you're terrified someone will break, don't sentence it to a dusty shelf. Call your granddaughter, invite her for tea, and give it to her. Put a flower in it and place it in her hands. Tell her the story of that day. Tell her how young you were, how nervous your husband was, how the light caught the crystal and made rainbows on the wall. You are transforming what would have been a future burden for a grieving relative into a present moment of profound connection. You are passing on a living legacy, not a dead liability. This is how you become immortal, not by the things you keep, but by the stories you give away. And now for a truth that will sting. I want you to perform what I call the heirloom interview. Gather your children, not on a somber occasion, but over a casual dinner. Ask them with genuine curiosity and a promise not to be offended. Of all the things in this house, what, if anything, would you actually want when I'm gone? Then be quiet and truly listen to the answer. I promise you, you will be shocked. They do not want the heavy mahogany bedroom set that takes 4 people to move. They do not want the 12-piece china set they'll never use. They live in smaller spaces, in a different world. They don't want to be custodians of your taste. They want your time, your stories, and your laugh. They don't want your furniture. They want your freedom. Realizing this is not a moment for grief. It is a moment for pure, unadulterated liberation. The things you have been dutifully polishing, protecting, and sacrificing your own peace for are things that your loved ones see as a future weekend of stressful, miserable work. Your sacrifice is for a fantasy. The truth will set you free. It gives you permission. Permission to sell that heavy dining table that seats 12 and use the money to take a trip. Permission to give away the boxes of old photo albums to a distant cousin who actually cares about genealogy. Your children's honesty is not a rejection of you. It is the greatest gift they can give you. It is the gift of permission to shed the weight of the past and live lightly and freely in the present for yourself. You are no longer guarding a legacy. You are funding your life. Once you have culled the past, you must protect your future with a simple, non-negotiable maintenance rule. I call it the 1 in, 2 out retirement rule. Your life is now in a season of lightening your load, not accumulating more. Your energy and your physical space are your most precious, finite resources. You must guard them fiercely. From this day forward, for every single new item that comes into your home, be it a book, a sweater, a kitchen gadget, or a gift from a well-meaning friend, 2 existing items must go out. 1 in, 2 out. No exceptions. This simple discipline actively reverses the lifelong, unconscious habit of accumulation. It forces you to acknowledge that your house is a home, not a container ship. It respects the reality that you are preparing for your final, lightest journey. Now do this exercise with me. Pause for a moment after I'm done speaking. I want you to look around the room you're in, or picture your most cluttered closet. Ask yourself, looking at that pile of magazines, that exercise equipment being used as a coat rack, those clothes that no longer fit, does this object help me grow, or does it keep me trapped in the past? Is it a tool for the life you want to live now, or is it a monument to a life you once lived? Be honest. The answer is the beginning of your freedom. In the comments below, I want you to share the one type of item you have the most difficulty letting go of. Is it books, clothes, gifts you feel guilty about? Let's turn this space into a circle of shared wisdom. Your struggle is not yours alone. If you choose to ignore this, the consequence is not just a messy house. The consequence is spending the last precious years of your life as a janitor to your own past, a groundskeeper for a museum nobody visits. Every day, the clutter will whisper that you are failing. The physical cost is real and brutal. A trip over a stack of books you meant to donate leads to a broken hip. A fall from a step stool while reaching for something you haven't used since 1992 costs you your mobility. Your home, which should be a sanctuary that helps you age with grace, becomes a treacherous obstacle course of your own making. You start to fear your own hallways. You begin to measure your life by what you can no longer safely reach. Your body is already fighting the relentless battle of time. It does not need to wage a daily war against your possessions. Your physical freedom is your final, most sacred form of independence. Do not let it be stolen by an old armchair or a box of forgotten papers. The emotional cost, however, is the one that will echo long after you are gone. You will leave behind a legacy of burden. In their moment of deepest grief, your children will not be comforted by memories of your laugh. They will be resentfully sorting through 50 years of your receipts, your old clothes, and your broken gadgets. Their bereavement leave won't be for mourning. It will be for renting a dumpster and arguing over who has to clean out the attic. Your home, once the backdrop of their happy childhood, will become the scene of their most stressful and thankless task. You think you are saving things for them, but what you are really saving is a future argument, a future resentment. The ultimate regret is realizing too late that you served your possessions until the very end, instead of making them serve you. You will have forced your grieving children to clean up the evidence of a life you were too afraid to let go of. And this brings me to the greatest con man you will ever meet. His name is Someday. He is a smooth-talking thief who has been robbing you blind your entire life. He's the reason you have good china you've never eaten off of and special occasion clothes collecting moths in the closet. Someday I'll wear it. Someday I'll use it. This small piece of paper is a contract with yourself, a promise to choose the present. This journey of lightening your load isn't a one-time cleaning spree. It is a daily practice, a new way of being. It's the art of letting go so you can hold on to what truly matters. Your time, your peace, your freedom. If you are ready to learn how to walk with lightness through these coming years, if you are ready to make a pact with your own future self, then subscribe to this channel. Treat it as a commitment to aging with dignity and intention, not with baggage. This isn't for me, it is for you. It's your weekly reminder that your life is worth living, not just curating. Now go. Go live your life. I'll see you in the next one.